Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and today I'm going to be doing a video where I'm going to be talking about books that I am determined to read by the end of the year. So this is going to be like books that have been on my TBR for ages, or that even if I've just recently learned about them, like books that I absolutely have to read by the end of 2022. So it's like a TBR for myself of like priorities for the rest of the year. I've seen a couple of people do the video where books that you guys need to read by the end of the year. So I could also do a version for that if you're interested. But these are ones that I need to read. So they're all books that I haven't read yet that I need to read by the end of this year. So we're gonna go right in. Some of these have been on my TBR for a very long time. Some of them are newer to my TBR, but I'm very excited about them. So we have a pretty good mix of like subgenres also. So the first one that I have is one that's been on my, only been on my TBR for a short time, but I've heard of the author for a long time, and I remember when the book was like first announced that she was going to be writing it, and that is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This is a YA fantasy, and it's a Death and the Maiden retelling, and I read Adeline Grace's debut YA fantasy back like a year or two, multiple years ago. It had to be like 2020, I think, when I read it, or 2019 even. But back then, and I actually really enjoyed her writing, and I thought it was really good, and I'm pretty sure that that was her debut. And I remember like a year or so later that she had announced that she was going to be writing a Death and the Maiden retelling, and like had revealed like cover, not like the actual cover, but like art for the book, and it just looked so interesting. And so now that the book is out, I have actually seen so many of my friends read it and love it, so I am incredibly excited. It is also just like the most gorgeous book I have seen. You've got to see. It has these absolutely amazing end papers, and look at the freaking naked hardcover. Like, so gorgeous. I had to pick up a physical copy, even though I haven't read it yet, and I just happened, the Strand indie bookstore in New York City just happened to have signed copies, so I was just like, absolutely, I need a copy. So I really hope I love it, and I'm hoping to read it in October this month, because it does give me like spooky season vibes, so I'm crossing my fingers that I'm actually going to get to it this month. But if I don't get to it this month, it will definitely need to be before the end of the year, because it looks incredible. I actually have physical copies of quite a few of these books, even though I haven't read them. And that's rare for me. If you guys know me, you know that I rarely buy books unless I've read them. So I actually have a physical copy of a lot of these. So the next one that I have is a very different subgenre, very different vibe, and that is The Perks of Loving a Wallflower by Erica Ridley. This is actually a historical, and it is a sapphic historical, which I have never read before. I have read historicals, but I've never read a sapphic historical, and I'm very excited about that. And I've heard that this book is incredible. I don't know a whole lot about it. I have read books from Erica Ridley before and enjoyed them though, so I'm really hoping that I like it. This was also just recently recommended on Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings, 10 books that you need to read before the end of the year. So Rachel, thank you for reminding me that I have this book and that I need to read it. Because I remember when I first went to the store and this had just come out and I had to buy it because I was like, oh my god, there are two women embracing on this cover, and I was just so excited about that. So I will definitely be reading this. I really want to read some more historicals before the end of the year, and I know that the historical romance readathon, another round of the historical romance readathon will be coming soon, so I'm hoping that I can read this during that. Okay, another one, also very different vibe. This one is Small Town, and that is, I just grabbed two books at the same time. That is Things We Never Get Over by Lucy Score. I really like Lucy Score's writing. Her books are incredibly long, but they go so quickly. I have read 3 books by Lucy Score, and all of them are very long, but they all, like, it doesn't feel like they're really long. Like, when I'm listening to the audiobooks, it doesn't seem like it doesn't like drone on. So I very much am excited to read this book. It is small town. I don't know a whole bunch about it other than that it's small town, and I know that it's Grumpy Sunshine. I also know that this book was at the top of the Kindle charts for like a ridiculous amount of time, so it obviously did really well. I had to have a copy of it when it was in my Barnes & Noble, because whenever my Barnes & Noble has indie books, I have to buy them, because my Barnes & Noble never has indie books. So I'm always like, oh, I need to let them know that I want them to have more, so I had to buy it. And so this is beautiful. I am very excited about it, and I very much hope that I love it, and I very much think that I will. The heroine's name is Naomi, and the hero's name is Knox. And it says that she's on the run from her entire life, which just sounds really fun. So, okay, another one that I have a physical copy of, but this one is a special edition, a Hello Lovely box edition, and that is The Culmination of Everything by Christina C. Jones. I love the Christina C. Jones books that I have read. I think I've read like 4 or 5 maybe. And I've really enjoyed them, and they have been great. So I don't know why I don't read more Christina C. Jones, but this one is the one that I have been wanting. It's been on my TBR for so long, and there was even a vlog where I was going to read it and ended up changing my mind and reading a different book. So I absolutely need to read this. I know that it's small town. It is more emotional. It looks so beautiful, and I know so many people that love it and say that it's amazing, and I think that I will love it. So I'm very much hoping that I can get to it. Another one, also small town, you can tell that I really like small town romances, is Rewriting the Stars by Claire Kingsley. This one is actually on my TBR for this month. I'm very much hoping that I can get to it this month. This is the last book in the Bailey Brothers series. I have read the Bailey Brothers this year. I've loved this series. I read my first Claire Kingsley this year and have now read so many of her books. And this is the last one in the Bailey Brothers series, and I'm so excited about it. It's rival family, it's small town, it's single mom, and I am just incredibly, incredibly excited about it, and very much so determined to read this by the end of the year. I'm very much so determined to read this by the end of this month. Next one. If you've been here for a long time, you'll know that this has been on my TBR for like so many years, and that is Priest by Sierra Simone. This is the one that so many, I am in a couple of like audiobook Facebook groups, like where people really love and talk about audiobooks and like recommend audiobooks. And there are so many people in those groups that are like, they're like, how could you consider yourself a huge audiobook listener and not have listened to the audiobook of Priest? This is the one that everyone's like, this audiobook is the top of the top tier, like absolute god tier audiobook. It's like the audiobook that they compare every other audiobook to. And I've never listened to it. I've never read this book. And at this point, I think it's more like I've overhyped it in my mind, and now I'm worried that I won't like it. But I have to like it. And at the time when I first added this to my TBR, it was so taboo for me, because it's a priest romance, but now I've read other priest romances. It doesn't really seem that taboo to me. So I don't know, I'm excited, and this is the year that I'm gonna do it. I promise this is the year that I'm gonna do it. And when I do read this book, I will vlog it, I promise. Okay, the next one that I have is one that's gonna end up on so many people's favorite books of the year, and that is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. This is another one that is actually on my TBR for this month, because I'm going to meet Jennifer Hartman in the end of this month in Vegas at a book signing. So I have pre-ordered this book, so I really hope I love it. But this one is a taboo forbidden romance where they get kidnapped together, and they have to do a whole bunch of depraved things to stay alive. And it's very emotional and taboo and dark, and I have not seen a single bad review from my friends who have read this book, so I think I'll love it. I'm going to read it this before the end of this year. I absolutely sure of that. But it sounds incredible. It just has been intimidating for me, so I haven't picked it up, but I'm definitely going to do it before the end of the year. Another one that I don't have a physical copy of, but I'm very much determined to read by the end of the year, is Ivy by Will and Nash. This one is one of the final Devney Perry books that I need to read. If you don't know, Will and Nash and Devney Perry, that's the same person. Will and Nash is Devney Perry's pen name. And I love Devney Perry, and I've been making my way through her entire backlist, and Ivy is, I have one series left that I haven't gotten to, and then Ivy. And so I am very much excited to read Ivy. I have seen so many people compare it to like overly dramatic TV shows. And I am a big TV show person, so I've seen all those like dramatic TV shows that they've compared it to. I also think it's very interesting that it's been, that it follows multiple couples. I think that's so cool, and I've never read a book like that. So I think it'll be really interesting and very different from everything that Devney Perry has written before. So this one, I very much saw Tori from Novel Life talk about this one first, so thank you, Tori, for this recommendation, but I'm very excited to read this book, and I think it's going to be great. Okay, we have two more. This one, the next one, is one that I also want to read in October because it gives spooky vibes, and that is The Dead Romantics by, who the hell wrote this? Ashley Poston. This one sounds so interesting. It's a ghost romance. I've never read a ghost romance before, I don't think. But it sounds really cool. I'm really excited about it. I saw people talking about it for like a couple of months, I think. And then I was looking at it and being like, when I first saw it, I thought that it was like a fiction book, like not romance. I don't know. The cover to me just like looked like something that would be like very fiction-y. But from the actual description of it, it does sound like it is a romance, and it sounds really, really good. And I've seen some people give it really good reviews, and I think that it'll just be a perfect like October-y vibe, because I am a wimp and I don't read like thrillers or horrors or anything like that. And even like the spooky ones, like this is the closest to spooky that I'm getting. So I think that this sounds really great, and I'm very excited about it. And I very much hope I love it, and I hope that I can get to it by the end of this month, but if not, again, end of the year. Okay, we have one more, and if you guys know me, you'll know the author of the book that is going to be the next one, because it's an author who I very much love, but her books are a lot for me. She's a very beloved author, and that is Kennedy Ryan. Kennedy Ryan's books, I always compare it, like, I feel like I've run a marathon after I read a Kennedy Ryan book. I am emotionally and physically drained after reading a Kennedy Ryan book. Her books are amazing. Her writing is fantastic. The stories and emotions that this woman is able to portray through her characters is beyond amazing. But wow, are they emotional. And this one is one that I am just absolutely going to be the next Kennedy Ryan book that I read. Bree from In Love and Words has talked so much about her love for this book, especially for the hero Canon. It discusses chronic illness in this, and she does have some really bad flare-ups, and he takes care of her. So you have amazing caretaking scenes, you have chronic illness representation. I think that this is going to be fabulous. It's Kennedy Ryan. I know it's going to be fabulous, and I am determined to read at least one more Kennedy Ryan book before the end of the year. I think I've only read one this year, and it was multiple months ago. So I'm really, really hoping that I'm able to get to it. I'm very much going to like force myself to be in the right mindset to read this book, but I think that it's going to be an absolute 5-star. I even put it on a 5-star predictions for 2022 list at the beginning of this year. So it's been on the TBR for a very long time. It's time for me to read it. I'm gonna do it. That is the last one though. I have multiple, how many books was that one? Like 10 books that I just mentioned. So I've got some reading to do. Do we think that I'll be able to do it? we're gonna cross our fingers. You guys cross your fingers for me. Send me your thoughts and your send me your well wishes, because I'm really hoping that I can do this. But that is all of them. So like I said, let me know if you want me to do a 10 books that you guys should read before the end of the year video. But that is going to be it for this video. Please like if you liked it, and subscribe so you can see more content from me. And let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these. I would love to hear your thoughts. My DMs are always open. I would love to chat. But that is going to be it for this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!